All right, guys, welcome to the Lift Others Up podcast. I am super pumped today to have a special guest with us today, Todd Falcone. Todd, man, pleasure to have you on. Here we go. So, give you guys a quick introduction to Todd, and I'm excited to have this conversation because we've just starting to get to know each other. But Todd is one of the most respected trainers in the network marketing profession. He's got a career over 35 years in network marketing and has built several successful organizations numbering in the tens of thousands. He's known best for his direct, tell it like it is approach, and now spends all of his time teaching the exact principles and strategies that helped him succeed in the field. And Todd, man, I've been following you for a long time. We chatted before about how I stumbled across some of your live call videos, which was really cool to see. And then recently was connected to you by our mutual friend, Freddie Elias, who's one of my personal mentors. So I couldn't be more excited to have you on the show today, man. And I'm excited to get right into it.
Yeah, great to be here, man. We share a cool dude as a friend. Freddie's awesome.
Yeah, he is, man. Freddie's a special guy. So yeah, man, I got the book, Fearless Networking. Definitely go check that out. And then I'm also enrolled in one of your courses right now, Recruiting Professionals. So I do want to get into that in a little bit. But first, just because I haven't heard the full story and I know other people would love to hear it, if you wouldn't mind, how you first started out and found network marketing, kind of the origin story, if you will.
Yeah, and I don't always share that. I normally get up on stage and start training. So I got started in network marketing. First of all, let me back up just before network marketing. So I grew up in a household that was, I'd say lower middle class. Nobody in my primary family went to college. Nobody was big money makers. I didn't have any kind of entrepreneurial upbringing, blue collar workers for the most part. And my parents got divorced when I was in just before I was a teenager. And then my mom got remarried, and my dad, they were just, we didn't live on food stamps, but we were broke. I heard we can't afford it my whole life. And then they got divorced. My mom got remarried to my stepdad, and he was a general manager of a radio station. He was making six figures. He wasn't rich, but he had more money. And so it was interesting. I was like, okay, I see no money. I see some money. And I was like, well, whatever I do when I grow up, I got to find something where I have a little left over. I was like, when I was a teenager, I was like, okay, well, money buys you choices. It doesn't buy you happiness, but it certainly could make life a lot easier. So I ended up going to Long Beach State and changed my career or my major like 5 times. I ended up getting a degree in marketing, much of which I didn't use, even though I've been in marketing my whole life. I mean, most of the marketing stuff I learned after school. But I was getting ready to graduate out of the marketing department at Long Beach State, and my phone rang. And I remember word for word what the guy said. Hey, this is Jim. I'm with Orange County Marketing Group. We're a marketing company. We're looking for people that can train and manage others in the expansion of our company. We'd like to talk to you. And I thought I was getting recruited into a job. I was so naive that this is what they do. They come out and they look for you. And so I, put my clip-on tie on, drove from Long Beach to Irvine. Walked into this room. I was greeted by this woman, Ellie. I'm so weird. I remember all of this. I remember this experience like yesterday. This redhead behind the desk, Ellie, and she's like, "Hey, what's your name? I'm Todd. Nice to meet you. Can I get you anything to drink?" And I was like, "Wow, she was really nice." And then this blonde in the background goes walking through. There was like this hallway, and she walked by and she saw me, and she comes bouncing out. And she goes, "Hi, my name's Holly. What's your name?" And I was just like, I'm Todd. I'm like, I want to work here. And I was just like, wow, these people are really nice. And I had a comparison because I had interviewed with Enterprise Rental Car. They hire college grads. They've always done, I think they still do it in their manager trainee program. And when I went to that interview, I was like, yeah, I'm here for the interview. And she's like, well, have a seat over there. We'll be with you in a minute. And I was like, oh, So I had this immediate comparison just from an energetic standpoint. And then more people started coming in, and I'm thinking I got to give this interview, and I got all these competitors. And I'm like, oh, okay. And what happens when you get nervous? You get sweaty, your palms get sweaty, your mouth dries up. And I'm like, man, I got to give a good interview because I got all these people. And I don't even know I'm getting ready to be pitched. Like I'd never heard of multi-level marketing. It didn't exist it still didn't exist for me, even sitting in that waiting room. And then they invited us all in to this room. There was probably, 50, 60 chairs in there, a whiteboard, some funky gadgets on the side of the room, which I later found out were air and water filtration units. And, they get up and some person gives this presentation about, you can build a team, no limit to the size of your team, no boss, they're drawing circles on the board, the whole pitch. Like this is 1989, right? On a whiteboard. And I was like, wow, I get this. Like, here's a product that we can share with other people. I mean, people need this product. I mean, people were paying $5 a gallon or whatever it was, or $1 a gallon for bottled water back in the day, Sparklets and Arrowhead water. And here's this water filter, pennies on the gallon. I'm like, oh, I get this. You can make a retail profit, build a team, no limit. And I was like, I conceptually, like network marketing was like, I didn't have any baggage. No, you got to be in early if you're not in at the top, or if you're too late. Timing is everything. It's a scheme, it's a scam, it's a cult. Like all this stuff. I didn't have any baggage because I didn't even know it existed. And so I'm like, I didn't do this, but I'm thinking in my mind, like, you're signing up, right? We're all, and I don't know how many people signed up that day. I did, and I began that journey, and that journey was 36 years ago. So, I came in and I was coachable and willing to do the work. I mean, hungry. I had the desire. I was willing to show up. I was willing to be there early, stay late. We were working out of a training center back then. It wasn't even a home-based business. We'd show up in a training center. We did live briefings Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock, Tuesday, Thursday night, 7 o'clock, and Saturday trainings. And our trainings weren't called Super Saturdays. They were just Saturday trainings because we did them every Saturday. And so, I start, I'm there all the time. I'm doing the work. And, my first couple of years, I didn't really make much money. I made very little, almost nothing. And people quitting all around me, but I stuck in there and eventually I figured it out. So, I mean, I'm the result of a cold call. So when people say, oh, cold market prospecting doesn't work, I'm like, no, it does. You just don't know how to do it, or you're too scared to do it. Like this guy called me. He found me on a list of graduates at Long Beach State, looked me up in the white pages and picked up the phone and called me. I don't know do you guys even remember what the white pages, yellow pages, they don't exist anymore, but they did. Yeah. And that's how he found me.
That is wild. Yeah. I've heard somebody else say, it's one of those things where if you're caring more about what people think of you than offering them the opportunity, like, how do you feel about that? How does that feel? Not very good, So
no, and that's the biggest stopper
put their ego aside to make that call, right?
Yeah, I mean, literally, because I've coached and trained for 18 years full time. I've been coaching and training on that side of the equation, and the biggest stopper for most people is they're so caught up in their head. It's their mindset. It's their lack of beliefs in themselves, and the biggest one is the worry of being judged by other people. I mean, the reality is, dude, they're judging you anyhow. Whether you bring them a network marketing deal or any other opportunity, they're already, they're judging you. So why are you letting somebody else's thoughts dictate your financial future?
That's interesting. In having this conversation with you, I can say for sure that I've struggled with being a network marketing professional as far as that conversation. People were like, well, what do you do? And a lot of times throughout my life, because I've been with my company for almost 15 years now in May. And usually what I'll do, and this is probably really bad, but this has been my experience, right? Is I'll say, oh, I'm with a health and wellness company. And I'll say, and I'll name other companies that they may have heard of. It's like this company or that company. And then, but I promise I won't say anything else about it. I kind of make a joke because they've realized it's network marketing. And I've definitely had a hang up with that in the past. Just this idea that, and I don't even know why. I don't know if it's, things that other people have said that have got in my head. But what's interesting is what I found out over time is like a lot of my friends and people that have said things about network marketing have later come out and said, dude, I give you a hard time, but I'm really jealous. I'm jealous of the time, freedom, and the type of income you're making from home. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is. Like if somebody said, hey, what do you do? I said, I'm a professional network marketer. And the funny thing is, like, you mean like computer networking? They don't even so we're a lot of times we make the assumption that people have a clue. Like, I know what you're saying. Like, oh, I'm in this health and wellness company, like companies like this and this and this, like these, names that you might recognize in the marketplace. And the reality is when you say that, the person you're talking to may not even know what network marketing is. And the ones that do that, especially here's what I found: somebody who's got like a negative opinion about network marketing, they've never done it. Because if you actually did network marketing, if you found a legitimate network marketing company, and you had a degree of experience, long enough to like make a determination as to whether it's like works or not, you're not going to talk smack about network marketing because it works. I mean, it's a $183 billion a year space. 100 million people do it around the world. It's not. It's and like, oh, it's one of those, like, all the things that people say are honestly all fallacies out of ignorance. They just don't know.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's interesting, just kind of growing over time, right? And we talk a lot about mindset and empowerment, and that's kind of what this podcast is about. It's called the Lift Others Up podcast, which is all about growing ourselves and turning around and serving others with what we're learning. And so was excited to have you on because I'm in your training right now, which is really unique because with some of these other people maybe have done trainings in the past or have a relationship, but I'm kind of in it with you right now. And one thing I read that you had in the training is, the mind cannot see what has not yet been trained to see, and
Yeah.
I think that's super powerful. You want to touch on that for a minute?
Yeah. I learned it a long time ago, and I don't know if I learned it on purpose. It was like accidental learning. So my first 2 years, I failed in network marketing, ran out of money, had to move home and live in the bunk beds at the parents' house at age 23. And, took a job at my family's radio station as an account executive. Never sold advertising before, but like I came home, literally cut up all my credit cards, went through consumer credit counseling, consolidated the debt. And my mom's like, I told you that thing didn't work. It was a cult, because all she saw was her like kid that just graduated, like, 2 years in and nothing to show for it. And mean creditors back then, Guido calling you up like with a baseball bat, like they're threatening you. And so I moved from Long Beach, California up to Monterey in the house. And, when it's interesting when people listen to a radio station or a TV station, when the spot break comes up, you're like, oh, I'm going to go pee. I'm going to go get something to drink, or I'm going to switch the station so I can keep listening to music. And, when I started selling ads, like I totally shifted my habits. I was like, wait, as soon as the ad came on the radio, I was like, what company is that? Where, that's a client because they're spending ad dollars. Or I open up the newspaper. I wouldn't even read the newspaper. I just read the ads like, oh, there's a double truck ad for, for standard furniture. I'm going to, find out who owns that place, go call them, see if they want to advertise on my radio station. So that's what I mean by the eyes cannot see the things that they're not yet trained to see. And, so like, I know you're going through my Insider Secrets to Recruiting Professionals training, which is all about how to recruit up, how to recruit talent. And the reality is most people are walking by, driving by things that are underneath, opportunities that are underneath their nose. And they like take a for sale sign. Like you drive down your street, you leave your neighborhood, and there's a for sale sign. Oh, the house is for sale. I look at that, I'm like, oh, there's a realtor, there's her phone number. That's an opportunity. Most people drive right on by and they see it. They might see it, and they would really see it if they were buying a house right then in that neighborhood, or they wouldn't even recognize it because they're not in the market for a house. Well, I pull out a yellow pad and pen, write the realtor's name and phone number down, and go, ring, ring. Good afternoon. This is Jan. Hey, Jan, Todd Falcone. How's it going? And I'm going to ask her a peak interest question. And so that's what I mean. You start to look at things differently, and that's in every area of life. Like you would never pay attention to somebody's golf swing if you never played golf. You would never pay attention to where did that guy cast just now to catch that fish? Like precise, like what's on his hook? What was he doing with the rod in his hand? Wow, it's interesting. Well, he hooked two fish in a row right behind that rock. Interesting. I'm a big fisherman. I do a lot of fishing, and there's a rock I discovered on the river that I fish, and almost every time I get it right behind that rock, boom, there's a steelhead cat there, and it's just for some reason they stack up behind that rock. And once I saw it one time, I was like, oh, but you got to be paying attention. If you're not paying attention, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah. What's cool about you is I feel like you're super relatable and you tell stories and deliver wisdom in a way that people can consume. And so when I heard that, what I thought of was The Secret. I don't know if you remember when The Secret came out, right? The law of attraction. It's a very mystical thing. But what's funny is this whole idea of what you focus on, you find, right? And then once your eyes are trained, you can see things. So the secret to me was always, I think it was called the RAC, the reticular activating system. It's like once you have a file for something, you'll see it all over. Like if you're looking for a Jeep, you're going to buy a Jeep. All of a sudden, everywhere you look, there's a Jeep, right? And so it's just cool to hear people talk about things that are more relatable, because the secret was kind of, I'm not saying I don't believe in law of attraction or anything like that, but when it was broken down where it made sense to me, I was like, okay, I can get behind that, you know? And that's what I'm experiencing so far with your training is, you're spending a lot of time in the beginning here talking about, like, let's talk about who you want to look for, right? Like having that realization, building that avatar. Like, what do they look like? What do they do? What do they do for work? And so it's just been cool so far. So if you wouldn't mind, how was your transition from building network marketing businesses, those huge businesses you built, into moving into training?
Yeah. I never thought I was going to be a network marketing trainer. I never aspired to be one, like, oh, one day I'm going to be like traveling around the world and speaking to thousands of people. It wasn't even on my radar. I had spent 11 years with a company and was doing great, having a blast, playing golf all the time, doing, just residual income. It was fantastic. And unfortunately, and I found this out about 6 months before that company went out of business, the owner of that company was a gambling addict, and things within the company began to suffer. And I was like one of the main trainers in that company, but it was all on conference call back then, not on stage, not in person. I was doing weekly, at least one or two calls a week. That's actually when I started doing live lead dials, like you talked about. Because it was a lead generation network marketing company, so I would get on Tuesday night and I would spend the hour picking up the phone and calling leads, and people could listen in. And because of the nature of that company, all the people in that company were in all these different companies, and they were using this tool to, or these tools to build their business. So I had some degree of exposure to the active companies at that time, rather than like most people. It's like they only know people in that one company, and maybe they're familiar with another company, but like I already had like this wider exposure to the industry. And so a guy that I met actually in that company, after that deal went out of business, he called me up. He knew they were out of business, and he was like, "Hey, dude, you want to come and speak at one of my events?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess. Like, what do you want me to talk about?" And he's like, "Dude, just come and talk about recruiting. You're really good at it. Like, why don't you just talk about how you do it?" And because I had never even thought about like speaking to on stage to an independent audience. So I spoke at this hotel in San Francisco. It was like 75 people. And I would wish I had a recording of that. I mean, I passed the test apparently, but I can't imagine that it was any good. I mean, I wish I have some old videos of me back in the day. I was super intense, no humor. The way I dressed, I mean, just some of the stuff, like we look back at things, right? And, from that event, I got invited to do a call for another team and another one and another one. And I'm not even like considering myself a network marketing trainer at that point. He's like, "Hey, come and talk about prospecting, recruiting, and business building." And then like about a year into it, this dude, I was actually at a live event that I did for free. I didn't even charge for it. I think I paid my own flight. Like I paid for everything to go out. And I was there, and somebody, after I got done speaking, they were like, "Hey, do you got any product I can buy from you?" And I'm like, "Wait, what? No, I wouldn't. What? I wouldn't bring any no, I wouldn't. Why would I try to sell you some product at your event?" She's like, "No, no, no, no. Do you have like cassettes or CDs or something?" And I was like, "No, I don't." She's like, "Well, if you did, I would buy them, and I'm sure a lot of people here would as well." And that's why I was like, "Oh, maybe I should actually put on." It was never on tape. It was always first on CD. Maybe I should like produce something and basically just teach some of the things that I've done. So I ended up going in the studio, and I produced How to Win in the Game of Prospecting, which was my look back at, sucking at prospecting and having a really difficult time to, getting to a point where I felt like I was pretty good at it. And so I just wrote it all down, and then I went in the studio. I flew down to Tampa, Florida, and I sat in a studio for a day. They reserved 3 days for me. I got it knocked out in a day. And we produced that original 6 CD set, which is interesting. I mean, that was 18, 19 years ago. I wouldn't even like redo that today. Like it's all like everything that I taught then is the same thing I would teach now with that particular, like how to get good at prospecting. This is what you do. So that's how I got started. And then, now it's taken me 30 countries around the world, speaking for, I mean, I think the biggest audience I spoke for was in Egypt for like I don't know, somewhere between 12 and 15,000 people in some auditorium being translated into Farsi, which was wild at 10:30 at night. I mean, it was like, that was awesome. But yeah, it's been fun, man. I get to speak and go see people and hopefully inspire them to take action. I will say this real quick. So I know you bought my recruiting professionals course. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're going through it. Oh my gosh. Like, how many people buy a training and they don't even get into it? And then the last part of that, so you bought it. Now you're getting into it. The next time I want to talk to you is like, are you implementing it? Like, it's the implementation. Because, you know, you heard the phrase like knowledge is power. No, it's not. I mean, and Sir Francis Bacon, who coined that phrase in the 1800s, he's not here. He can't argue. But it's not. I mean, knowledge is powerless until it's put to use. And then, like, when I finish like almost every deal, I'm like, dude, okay, you all came in here, you took notes today. You know, it's nice to have notes, but what the hell are you going to do with the notes?
Yeah.
You take action on something that you learned today, even before you go home. And I have to do that because it's like, at least I can, you know, put something in their head that makes them think. Because I mean, how many times the journal goes away, goes on their desk, and then never looked at again and never acted upon.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think it was Ed Milet said something to the effect of, if you're not implementing, if you're not taking action on what you're learning, you're mistaking entertainment for education, right?
Yep,
Like,
I'd say that's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, even though like these are good things we're learning, like if you're not acting on it, you're just entertaining yourself. And so, you know, you're talking about things you said back then still being relevant. And there's another quote, you know, where us network marketers are full of them. That's methods are many, principles are few. Methods always change and principles never do, right? So like when Freddie's talking, he's like, take the products, talk to people. Well, how we talk to people may have changed a little bit, but it's still talking to people. And then, you know, another thing that I see a lot is on the flip side of the coin for people not taking action is taking action just based on a little bit that they heard without actually going through the course, right? Which I think is it's better than going through the course and not taking action. But, you know, I also see a lot of value in learning from people that have come before me that have had a ton of experience and wisdom and made me save me a little time, compress some of that time and effort by learning from what they've done. So that's what I'm, you know, doing with this course in particular. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice for sure.
Yes.
And I mean, I'd rather see you taking action 1/4 of the way through the course rather than not doing anything. I mean, because the consequences for you are nil. Like, for example, I've been getting up the last few days at 3:45 a.m. Why? You could call that insanity, whatever. I don't need to get up that early, but my alarm goes off at 3:45 to get up. I'm showered with a cup of coffee at my desk, watching a guy trade pre-market because I'm looking at, you know, I'm seriously studying day trading. And I've gone through I've gone through 20% of the first course, the basics of day trading. And there's no way in hell I'm like going to start trading. Most certainly not with my own money. I'll do it in a sim. Even my buddy I talked to this morning at like 6 a.m, he's like, well, are you trading yet? I'm like, no. He goes, are you in the sim? I'm like, I'm not even ready to get in the sim. I got to get a little bit because I want to have a positive P&L even on the sim. So,
Right.
But yeah, taking action's good, before you're never going to know everything. I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers. I got a lot of them when it comes to making money in network marketing, but I don't have all of them.
Well, you know, one thing I really appreciated about those live calls you used to do was I've never been a fan of role playing. Like I always felt role playing felt weird. You know what I mean? Just because it's not an authentic conversation and there's kind of two people acting. Where those live calls, it was like, man, this is what's happening right now. You know, like I don't know what they're going to say. I have an idea what am I going to say, and we're just going to figure this out. So that's been cool. So because you mentioned waking up at 3:45 right now to study, do you have or have you had in your life kind of a good morning or evening routine that you think has helped you with being successful?
Yeah, I mean, I do sometimes, and I don't at other times. I think I'm a big fan of that. I don't know if you're familiar with Hal Elrod and the Miracle Morning. I do think it's great to have routines. I would say, my routines kind of change because I'm getting up so early. So, my normal routine is the alarm goes off at 5:20. I push the button on the coffee maker. I put my yoga clothes on. I'm in class at 15 till 6. ready for the yoga class to start. I started doing yoga, first, I I did it because I'm super not flexible, and I did it primarily for my golf swing, and I gotta get more limber, and so I started. I do that at 6 a.m. And the crazy thing is, I come back all sweated out, all stretched out, and I'm back at my desk, showered by 7:30, ready to go. My body does not want to work out at 6 a.m. And it's not like I could work out whenever I want. But like to me, the value of like daylight hours is like I got to maximize the production during the daylight hours. And I hear these people that aren't making money yet, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm at the gym." I'm like, "Bro, it's 11:30 in the morning. You're not even making money in network marketing. Why don't you go at 5 and then come home and then knock it out? You got that workout nailed, done." So normally for me, the moving of the body routine first thing in the morning, I'll be honest, sometimes I'll pick up the iPhone, I'll start, scrolling through, checking emails. I know that's probably not the healthiest thing to do. And there's a lot of people like, don't touch your phone for the first hour, meditate, journal, read, whatever. I can't, the closest thing to meditating that I do is doing yoga at 6 in the morning.
Yeah, well, I'd definitely say that counts. Yeah, I think there's a lot of research into, getting up and moving first thing. And I know for me, and this is all a journey, right? Like we're all learning about ourselves and trying to become the best version of ourselves. But for me, it's not that I can't go work out later, but if I don't work out first thing, I'm probably not gonna go work out later. And I've realized that about myself. Like the later it is in the day, the more excuses or reasons or things pop up that that I can't control. So that's why a lot of people talk about bookends, right? Like the first part of your day and the last part of your day is what you have most control over. So it's nice to
Yeah.
squeeze it in there. So, do you have any upcoming events or new trainings going on that people should know about?
Yeah, well, I've got my next A team, which is the A stands for accountability. I started running those in 2008 because there's no accountability in network marketing, none. Think about our whole lives. We're held accountable by first our parents, then our teachers and our parents, and our teachers and our bosses and our parents. And then you get network marketing, and yeah, you got your sponsor, but it's not like they're gonna like make you show up. And so you have to some extent, learn to be self-employed. So I always like when I was actively building the field, I had people that, wanted to, but they, for whatever reason, they just couldn't seem to get around to it. And I'm like, they want to do it, but they're not like, there's no accountability. So I started running accountability programs when I was in the field, and we would see people get more production and take more action. So then like, a couple of years into speaking professionally, I was like, I wonder if I could run accountability program with people in all different companies. And so I put the first one together. The first one launched in June of '08. We've run them every quarter for however many years that is. That's a lot. And, it's a 90-day deal. They get trained. They learn to track their metrics. They are held accountable. And it's very, very powerful. The next one of those starts first week of April. I'm not sure it's first or I don't remember the exact date, but it's early April. And so that's the next one. And then also in April, I just brought these back this last month, and that's I was running these recruiting retreats where, it's cool to come to seminars and take notes and hug people and see people and all of that. And those can definitely make an impact. They're huge. I mean, events are huge belief builders or skill builders. But if I can get my hands figuratively on you and we're in the same room and I can work with you, I can help you have major breakthroughs. And so what I do with these retreats is people fly into my town, into Bend, Oregon. I rent a big house. I put you up in the house Tuesday through Saturday. You get there Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. We check in. I feed you the whole time. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're building your business. Like we're getting down and dirty. Like you will get more done in 3 days than most people do in a lifetime. And so it's the biggest game changer, man. And I had to stop doing those when we were in that weird 2-year period where we had to wear masks and we couldn't leave our houses.
Right.
And so I stopped doing them. I mean, all events stopped during that time frame. And then, I was busy coming out of that experience and doing some other things. And so we just brought them back. I don't know how many I'm going to do this year. I don't know if I can do one every month, and they're small. I only take 8 people. So it's not like, there's 50 people, 100 or 5,000 people, and I'm working with you. It's like I'm prospecting with you. It's not cheap. You know, I mean, I guess that cheap is relative. You know what I mean? It's like, if we look at, okay, two cars, but they both have four wheels. One's 150,000 and one's 20,000. Okay, they get you from point A to point B, but they're different experiences, and this is a different experience. I mean, it's $5,000 to come to one of these. So, but you're either going to pay for it by continued lack of production over a long period of time and more frustration and the likelihood of quitting, or I'll fix you, and you pay for it to get fixed right now.
Right. Is there kind of like a primer in leading up to that event? And what I mean by that is, should people have like funnels filled or anything like that, or can they just come wherever they're at in their business and show up?
Yeah, just bring your laptop, bring your prospect list, bring if you were gonna, be gone for a little bit, wherever, and you were gonna, okay, I got to stay in business and keep doing business. Just bring your business stuff, and we get after it. So they don't have to fill their funnel or be. I mean, there's really no preparation involved. Just be ready to take action. That's it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So speaking of Bend, I've heard you talk about like where you live is awesome. Like, what do you love most about the area, and what things are there to do out there?
Well, I was living in Scottsdale for 5 years before we moved to Bend. I grew up in the Seattle area, so I'm a skier, and I've skied since I was a kid, and it's like my favorite sport. And here I am in the desert, and I'm like looking at my two boys. I'm like, they're never going to learn to ski in Scottsdale. Yeah, okay, we can travel, but they're never going to learn to ski. And so I was like, honey, we got to get back up to the Pacific Northwest. I was going to move back to Seattle. My friend, who was my former neighbor, was like, bro, you need to come to Bend. And I was like, Bend? He's like, dude, it's way drier, better weather, 30 minutes to the mountain, epic mountain biking out your back door, some of the best fishing in the lower 48, cool town, smaller deal. And I was like, so we flew into Bend and I bought a house. And we've been here ever since. So, I mean, it's just for outdoor lovers. It's like, I mean, there's hikes everywhere, great fishing, great skiing, river rafting, kayaking. I don't kayak, whatever, but people do. We got a great music scene, and it's got a small town feel, and it's got an airport. I mean, I got to take one extra flight to get wherever I need to go most of the time, but I mean, this place is amazing.
Gotcha. Yeah, it looks awesome, man. Hope to get out there soon to check it out.
Yeah, it's cool.
Just a couple more things. So, do you do training outside of network marketing? Do other non-network marketing people get a hold of you to train the people?
Yeah, occasionally. I mean, I kind of prefer talking to network marketing, or at the very least, salespeople that want to be in sales. People that are in some production deal. I've done some real estate deals, some financial planning stuff. I just when you go to a network marketing event, those people typically paid their way there. They want to be there. They didn't get forced by their boss to be there. Like I did one deal. I won't say what kind of company. It was just a company with a bunch of people, and I don't think anybody wanted to be there. So I was like, this isn't fun for me. I mean, I did a great job. I made an impact, but they're like, it's like they didn't want to be there, being forced to be there. So,
yeah.
But if it's a production based kind of deal, if you've got salespeople that, are eager to be better at sales. I mean, I love doing real estate conferences. You actually just reminded me, I got to call a guy he's actually with a network marketing real estate company who I owe a call to. So I'll probably make that after we're done with this. You just sparked my memory on that. So yeah, I do, but mostly network marketing.
Yeah. Well, I could see the idea of multiplying impact and empowerment too, right? It just fits with our industry because you're training people that are going to go out and train people. So that's awesome.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I got one more question for you, but before I hit you with that one, just anything else that you can think of, kind of as a closing statement, something you want to leave with people, anything we didn't cover, and then I'll hit you with that last one.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to come right off the top of my head because none of these questions were obviously planned.
Right.
I don't know. It's like we're here, for a limited time, right? We don't know when we're going to go, and there's a lot of ways you can make money. It's not like network marketing is the only option that you've got. There's always choices. If you're in a production-based business like network marketing, or maybe you're in network marketing, make sure you decide for yourself, I'm going to get as good as I can at this thing, and I'm going to do this until I win. And I'm not going to stop. I'm going to be a bullheaded dog, and I'm going to keep going in spite of not making money, roadblocks, obstacles, frustrations, anguish, all the things. And, if it's not whatever you're doing, if you're working and you think you're doing the right activity and you know you're doing the right activity, but it's still not producing results, change it up. Do something different. Like, we've all heard the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. But like specifically, like if you're doing network marketing, like this business model is amazing. Does it have challenges and issues? Sure. I mean, but there's no perfect business anywhere. But the upside potential, the benefits are so amazing. Like you work, I mean, like I'm sitting here in a t-shirt and jeans on, and I didn't leave the house yet today, and I don't have to get up. I did take a shower. I brushed my teeth this morning, but I can work at home. I can be with my kids. You can, like I remember, like it's the little things that make the difference. And the thing about like leverage, right? The thing that turned me on the most, I think, was like, wait, I can make money when I'm not working. Like, what? Are you serious? And so that was really appealing to me. And I remember when I was living up in Sammamish, Washington, and it was like 7:30 in the morning or something, and I was shooting baskets with my kid, my oldest kid, who was at six at the time, and we're playing hoops, and all these cars start buzzing out of the neighborhood, and he looks at me, he goes, "Dad," he goes, "where's everybody going?" Because it's like I'm in a regular neighborhood, and people are bailing out, and I'm like, "Oh, buddy, they're going to work," and he's like, "Oh, they don't all work at home?" And I'm like, "Oh no!" Like most people get up, take a shower, get dressed, go to work for 8 or 10 hours, come home for dinner time. He looks at me like, "Oh, I like what you do." And so like I don't miss. I mean, my kids were not big sports kids. Like they're more playing instruments, skateboarding, and other stuff. But I'm like my kids. I'm always around my kids, man. And it's like when you start a new family, like, oh, first of all, when are you guys getting married? Oh, when are you having babies? I'm like, by the way, like when somebody says that to you and you're like, okay, well, first of all, it's like you're pressuring us to get married. We got married. Next thing, when are you guys having babies? My response would be, and I did this to a couple of people before we had kids. I go, as soon as I get back from Chicago. And I go, oh, when are you going to Chicago? I go, I don't have any plans. And then when you get married and you got your kids, they're like, oh, you better cherish every moment. The next thing you know, they're going to be off to college, and you're sitting there going, dude, I'm trying to get through 12 diapers a day right now and get a decent night's sleep. What are you talking about, college? And the crazy thing is, both of my kids are literally like right this fall, they're both going to university, and I don't know if it seems like the time has flown, but it's like, wow, it's like we're going to be empty nesters here pretty soon.
Yeah.
So I just think like I was at an event one time, and it was a big event. There's like 8,000 people, and the host of the event brought like I think 4 guys up on the stage that were not involved in network marketing. One of them was a professional skateboarder, was Rob Deerdeck. The other one was Daniel Negreanu, who's a world-class poker player. One of them was like one of the best surgeons in the world. I can't remember what the fourth person was, but he asked him all these questions. Again, not network marketers. So he said, how did you get so good? Like, how did you get so good? And he's like, every single one of them used the same word. I became obsessed with getting good. And that actually makes me think, like I was in, when I was living in Scottsdale, I was at a soccer game soccer practice for my youngest kid. And they were little ones, like where they just, hive over the ball. They don't even know about separation at that point. It's just like a crew of kids. It's so funny. There was a dad on the sidelines, and he had a Seattle Seahawks hat on. And I'm from Seattle, and this is down in the desert. And I'm like, oh, you from Seattle? He's like, yep. I'm like, what are you doing down here? How long you been? Whatever. I said something, and he's like, oh, I'm playing golf. And I'm like, are you tour player? Because I was like, he didn't say like, what I think I said, what do you do? What do you do down here? And he's like, I play golf. And I was like, okay. And he was like, young guy. And I go, what do you play golf? Are you on the PGA tour? And he goes, I am. And there's a lot of tour players in Scottsdale. And I go, oh, I go, well, what's your name? And he goes, Richard Lee. And I go, oh, you are Richard Lee. I go, I watched you this last weekend against Jordan Spieth. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I blew it on Sunday. I go, oh my gosh, like, nice to meet you, man. I was literally watching your Saturday match. And I go, how long? Because I play golf. I've been playing golf since I was like 20 or something. And I'm like a 12 handicap. I think I got down to like an 8 at one point. But I asked him, I go, when did you start playing golf? because I go, first of all, I go, how old are you? And he goes, I'm 24. And I go, when did you start playing golf? And I'm thinking like Tiger Woods, like, in diapers. And he goes, I never touched a club until I was 14. No, he was 23 at the time. And I'm like, I did the math. I'm like, so 9 years from first touching a club to being, on the PGA Tour. And just so you don't know, if like on the tour every year, I don't know the exact number, but about 240 players play on the tour. If you look at the world of golf, there's 91 million people that play golf on planet Earth. Less than 5% ever shoot a single round under 90. And to be at that level, like that, you have to be so good to play on tour. I play with guys that are +2 handicaps. I play with guys that are scratch golfers all the time. And I'm like, so I'm kind of fascinated. And I said, dude, how did you get so good so fast? And he didn't even hesitate. He looked at me and he goes, I love to practice. As soon as I started playing golf, man, I'd run home from school. I would be like chipping, putting, driving. It's like I've spent every spare moment practicing. And it's just interesting because it goes along with some of the things that I said earlier about being obsessed. Like, people get into this business and then they like, I'm like, what do you want to be good at this? They're like, yeah. I'm like, what are you doing to get good? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, bro, like, are you good at something? Yeah. Well, what is it? Okay, that. Well, how did you get good at it? Oh, I went to practice. I watched the best players. I did this. I did this. I'm like, that's what you do here. And that's the one thing that pisses me off about network marketers is they say that they want to get good. And I would say this goes for salespeople too, because I've met a bunch of salespeople that haven't even read one book on sales.
Yeah.
I'm like, you want to be good at sales? It's performance-based business, dude. Like, you should be taking sales courses, like investing in yourself, buying whatever it is, and like taking it, applying it. I did that even, but I came up from, when I was doing radio sales, I was already kind of programmed to like invest in yourself and buy courses and no, now none of the other account executives were doing it. None of them. I mean, I took them all to a Get Motivated seminar with Peter Lowe, and I remember like they were begrudgingly went along. I was like eagerly taking notes the whole day, and then George Bush Senior was the second to last speaker, and the whole auditorium of like 10,000 people's getting ready to leave, and I'm like, and my 4 account executives, everybody. I'm like, no, we're not done. There's another speaker. I was waiting for Dan Kennedy. Like, I knew Dan Kennedy was, I'd never seen Dan, but I had heard of Dan. I knew he was like one of the most brilliant direct marketers in the world. And they're like, well, I drove. You can go wait outside or whatever, but I'm watching this dude. And so Dan comes out, 60% of the auditorium left, literally left. And here's Dan, the last guy of the day, and a bunch of frowny account executives around me. And I'm sitting there like paying attention to Dan. I'm taking notes. I'm like, he made an offer at the end. I ran downstairs, got his Midas Touch marketing system, took it back. They're all pissed off at me at the, we're stuck in traffic now because of you, Falcone. I'm like, I'm just like driving home. I can't wait to dig into this cassette program. And then I started using Dan Kennedy's stuff as an account executive. And it was interesting. I became the number 2 earning account executive in the market within like 15 months. And not because and our radio station, it sucked ratings wise. Like, we were like number 7 women 25 to 54. It was a soft rock station. We switched the format to oldies later, but I was competing against K-Wave 97 FM, $100 a spot. I was selling $30 a spot, and I was beating most of the people in the market because of all of the self-education. So I know that's a long answer to your question, but you asked, so you got the answer.
No, that's awesome, man. No, I mean, honestly, I relate to so much of that. So I remember when I was 28, when I got in network marketing, and I heard people talk about urgency, creating urgency, and at that time, again, just where I was at in life, I was like, what's this urgency thing? Why is it urgent? Now I'm 45, and I'm like, urgency is real. You know what I'm saying? Like, my son's a junior, my daughter's in 8th grade, and life's going by so fast. And with you talking about that story with your kid in the front yard, shooting hoops and cars driving by, that's been the best thing network marketing's done for me. Is it's allowed me to not only help provide but to be present. I've been here the whole time with my kids. So no, man, I feel all of that, and then obviously with just being thirsty for getting better. I mean, that's where I'm at, man. I'm a seeker, I'm a learner, and I'm need to take your advice and make sure that as I'm learning, I'm applying. So I appreciate you so much, man. The last thing I'm gonna hit you with is I do this to all my guests. Pressure's on, and that is it's an ask, right? And the ask is if you could think of one person that I might be able to get on the show here that you think would really embody what Lift Others Up is all about. That's about learning, growing, and empowering others. Is there anybody you can think of that I might be able to reach out to?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of people. So when we're done, we're more than happy to refer you to a few people that I'm sure would be happy to be on your podcast.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to keep it rolling. I'll tell you what. I feel like some favor from God right now or something because it's nothing I've done, but just the guests that I've been able to line up. I mean, from Justin to Ray, I just had Rudy Reback on. I was honored to have you on today. I got Dan McCormick coming up, and the way this thing's lining up for a new podcast has just been incredible. So, man, thank you so much. I looking forward to continuing the training and continuing our conversations, getting to know you better, and I appreciate the time spent with us today.
My pleasure. Enjoy the day, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Todd.
Thanks.